just to conclude, what we've started together with Article 27 Music is a movement, we hope, towards protecting the copyright for songwriters.
For the future of songwriting.
Right.
And because, a lot of people don't realize that copyright and publishing are two different things. In fact, a lot of the people that I spoke with in reference to my situation said, "Oh, well, you sold your publishing." I said, "Yeah, but I didn't sell my copyright." Right. I said, "It's the same thing." But it isn't. A copyright is an entirely different, you can't, it would be like you're this is your hand. You can't sell the finger, It's part of you.
Right.
It's what you wrote. You wrote it. It's
right.
yours. I mean, it's insane that
right.
that can be. And in a lot of countries, you can't. You don't sell your copyright. You can't.
Well, you would expect that it would be given the importance that it is, that as a human right, it wouldn't just be something in a contract that oops. Oops, that was also included.
Oh yeah, that was included there. No, you would think that
right.
the organization that was supposed to be protecting writers would have informed me that this is happening or was going to happen in convoluted legalese,
Amazing. If you can't read it and clearly understand it, there's something wrong right there.
Yeah.
You should be able to just read it yourself.
Right.
Not have to hire a lawyer or spend $100,000 so that you can protect your ownership of your copyright.
Right.
It is your human right.
Melanie and Peter's beautiful neighborhood records office, located at 1 Central Park in New York City, was closed in 1974. Melanie described to me 2 attacks made on Peter Szekerek's life. Both believed it was time for a change of pace. The studio tapes from which the final audio recordings were pulled from were stored in the garage of the house where Melanie's mother, Polly, resided. Later, at the wise choice of Stephanie, Melanie's younger sister, the reels were kept in the attic of a rustic showroom in upstate New York. Sacred live performances were also there, such as the famous 2-night engagement at the DeMille Theater in Manhattan. Melanie described to me those 2 nights at the DeMille as the formal release of the label's first album, Gather Me. By the time Melanie and I sat down to start Article 27 Music, the tapes were just about to go due to being more than 40 years old, as well as stored in fluctuating temperatures and dust. Melanie gave the tapes to me in order to fund Article 27 Music over the course of the years. I managed to work with a superb company, the Songwriter A2DX Lab, located close to where Melanie herself attended high school in New Jersey. Melanie's historic performance in 1974 at the New York City Metropolitan Opera House was in those tapes. It's the only folk music show ever performed there. Peter had booked it on his own. The historic night took place on Melanie's birthday, the 3rd of February, back in 1974. The only copy of that show had been exposed to all kinds of weather changes, as well as dust, rust, mice, and other things. Miraculously, I was still able to get the performance at the Met from those tapes due to the brilliant supervision by Kevin, the owner of the Songwriter A2DX Lab. Another incredible product from the Neighborhood Records archival tapes was Melanie's performance at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. That's the oldest performance site in London. Melanie was overjoyed. She said, "That's the night I invited the incredible string band as guest performers at the show. They are Melanie's favorite band." That was the first time Melanie shared how the incredible string band had briefly been on the Neighborhood Records label. All of those moments in music history would have been completely lost. When I was back home, once again in Oregon, I walked into my local record store, Music Millennium, and met the owner, Terry Courier, for the first time. Terry is an important part of the independent music scene. He was an integral player in both the launch of Record Store Day across the United States. Terry was also a part of the core group who founded Oregon's Music Hall of Fame. I talked to Terry at length about the tapes and my work with Melanie to fund Article 27 Music by selling anything of value we could transfer from them. Terry expressed to me how much he understood artists are in need of protection in the industry. And as an amazing coincidence, Terry brought in a copy of the vinyl record $5 Shoes album to show to me. $5 Shoes is one of the bands that was on Neighborhood Records. Terry invited me to present Melanie's show in London featuring the incredible string band as part of a Record Store Day release. So I brought the idea to Melanie, and she loved it. She had not yet participated once in any record store days. So I paid for the physical stock to be manufactured.
It's National Record Store Day and the release of my beautiful red vinyl live at Drury Lane. And in honor of this, I am going to read some of the liner notes.
Melanie live at Drury Lane was given the official badge of honor, the Record Store Day sticker. All the copies sold right away. This month, December 2024, I officially made available for purchase the music Melanie and I were planning to release. At this time, it is available only in digital format, and purchase of this music continues to fund the work Melanie and I started together.
I had submitted, and this is before computers and laptops, and I had submitted, the first time I heard the melody, this lyric came into my head, and I thought, oh, that's beautiful, because I don't know how many people are familiar with the theme of Beauty and the Beast, but it's someone who falls in love with creatures in the subways or something, and they meet in under weird circumstances under the ground of, so they fall in love and they have these adventures, you know, and I think she's supposed to be a lawyer.
Right, yeah, something like that.
Something like that, and the music was dee da 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 da. Da, 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 da. I thought it was really pretty. Okay, thank you, Lee. It's a beautiful melody. So I wrote, the first time I loved forever. That was so beautiful. Isn't that a beautiful line? Beautiful. The first time I loved forever. That is such a Melanie line. And I wrote all these lyrics. I loved it. On a yellow legal pad. I wrote no phone, no computer, nothing. Physically write these lyrics with pencil so I could erase and fix it if they need. I turned it in the next day. Now I was told about this, given the score, and said they needed the lyrics, you know, in 3 weeks. If I had been smart, I would have waited 3 weeks. I should have waited 3 weeks. I didn't wait. I said, oh, here it is. And I turned it in. I flew home, figuring that's it. I wrote my lyrics. They're the beautiful ones. They're the ones that are going to be the ones. And so I get a call first from Lee. And he said, you put a pickup note in there. Because my song went, the first time, and his melody went dee da 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 da. So I said, yeah, but first, I can't say the first time I loved forever if I don't say it like that. Well, he was not too happy with that, and then the producer talked to me and said they're going to run it by the team and everything, and then they said, no, you know, it doesn't have enough his point of view. It needs more of the male point of view. it's all her point of view. I said, well, it was probably because I'm a girl, you know. Much more her point of view. Okay, I'll think about that. And then I wrote some words that could have been his point of view. And I wrote it and I sent that in, and I had to go back to Hollywood, but you do this real close with the producers and everybody's involved. And yeah, but now it's a little dark. We want it a little lighter, you know. Well, it's a pretty dark story. Okay. The first one, and I would keep writing and I keep writing. I filled a legal pad with lyrics, and they were getting more and more contrived, and I was liking it less and less. It went on, and I thought, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. This is horrible. I hate it. I kept looking at that first lyric that I wrote. I said, it's so pure and it's so from the heart, you know? But like weeks and weeks went by, and they said they really need the lyrics. They really need them right now. They need them. So, you know, produce the lyrics. So I did. I gave them the very first submission that I had done, because I knew that they were the best.
Right.
No matter what I did, nothing was better than that first lyric that I wrote. Yeah. And it was my fault that it just took a minute, you know. It just came out of me like that. It was magic.
It was magic.
It was magic. And so I, you know, created the lyrics, and I said I handed them in, and I was like, I hope nobody remembers. I hope nobody remembers. Yeah. And sure enough, they said, that's it, Melanie. That's it. You did it. You see, all that hard work paid off.
That's great.
And I won the Emmy.
That's great.
Lee Holdridge was the one who wrote the score, and Lee Holdridge was one of his earliest projects in New York was the arrangement of Ruby Tuesday. We're working together, and I thought, isn't this incredible, Lee? Well, he wasn't thrilled. He had turned to L.A. I'm sorry to say that, L.A., but something happens when people go to L.A. If they're there too long, it gets on them. It's like you catch something, actually. I mean, he wanted the Bergmans, who were, I think, at that point, the president of Marilyn Bergman, I think, was the president of ASCAP.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, they wrote. That was the last time I wrote in Hollywood. I had a funny story about this whole thing with the Emmy, and that's why I said it was so well deserved. Wow. And I said, look, I'm here again, and I'd really like to have my Emmy, and it's important to me, so could I have it back, please? And he said no. Wow. He said, no, I'm not giving you your Emmy. I deserve this Emmy.
Why would he say something like that? I mean, that's
well, I mean, I don't know, you know, exactly the inner workings of people and what they think they did. I guess because I was on that label once. Wow. Or, I mean, he's sitting there. I'm sure it's still on his shelf of whatever. His Emmy doesn't say Artie Rip. His Emmy says Melanie.
No. Were you working for him at that time when he introduced
Oh no, nothing to do with him. To your door at daylight, and almost seems like you're avoiding me. I'm okay alone, but you got something I need. Well, I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. I think that we should get. My parents both said, why
Very sadly, Melanie passed earlier this year in January. It's heartbreaking because I was hoping that we were going to achieve the ultimate victory as a result of all of this work. But the victory can still be had, I suppose, by you taking this information and using it to protect what is rightfully yours here in the United States of America. It's my hope that the copyright law of the United States will become general knowledge for anybody in the music industry. As well, it is my hope that those who make their way in music continue to support democracy, freedom of speech, and the right to own our belongings as artists. This brings me, at this point, to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for watching.